let's get to talking. Sit back and listen to BeefysBoxing.
Welcome to BeefysBoxing, where we talk about the daily boxing news. I am no mastermind of the sport, just a big fan, hoping to build up a community and learn along the way, and I hope you join. Anyways, let's jump into today's video. So this is an old story, but Zuffa has axed Alexander Gvozdyk, and this is after he suffered his loss back in February on the Zuffa 2 card, and he put out a statement explaining all this, but this is a bad sign. And revealing this, first we're going to go over what he says, but revealing the news during a recent interview with V Ringe, Gvozdyk said they terminated the contract in February after a loss. That is, every promoter has the option that if a boxer loses, they have the right to terminate the contract. That's exactly what they did. After the fight, everyone was saying how great it was. That everything was great. I rested, I started preparing as planned somewhere around May, and then April, they told me I'd received an email terminating the contract. And this is a sign. This is a big sign. And people are immediately going to be like, oh, Gvozdyk, he's at the end of his career. He's old and all that. But whatever happened to, fighters can lose message? Whatever happened there? Because for a while, they were saying, oh, a fighter can lose and, they can still get put on and still make moves. This is probably the biggest issue I see. Dana White has publicly emphasized that Zuffa's philosophy is to have the best fighting the best. And he previously said fighters wouldn't have to worry about being cut or have their money changed simply because they lost. Yet, Gvozdyk, guess what? He was released after losing his Zuffa debut. Now, contractually, Zuffa apparently had the right to do so, but, from a fan perspective, it just looks bad. If you encourage fighters to take dangerous fights, what happens when they lose? They can get fired, possibly. And Gvozdyk, he actually made the fight entertaining. This wasn't a case where Gvozdyk, he showed up and got dominated and looked completely finished. He put up a decent fight. He scored 2 knockdowns and was ahead on all 3 cards before being stopped. That's important because Zuffa has repeatedly marketed itself around exciting fights and meaningful matchmaking. And that's exactly what he delivered, even though he ultimately lost, and he got fired for it. And it could make fighters more cautious about signing with Zuffa, and I hope it does. Imagine you're an established fighter considering a Zuffa contract. You see a former world champion sign the company, take a tough fight, lose a competitive battle, and then discover his contract has been terminated. That could make fighters ask, what's my incentive to take a dangerous fight for Zuffa if one loss can eliminate me from the roster? And the timing looks bad. According to him, everyone around him initially made it sound like things were fine. He rested after the fight, began prepping for another one, only to receive the email then. That's shady. That's a little two-faced. Fucking say something right then. But ultimately, this is raising questions about whether, Zuffa, what do they want? Who do they want on their roster? This is where it's going to get interesting, because Zuffa initially needed recognizable fighters to populate the roster and establish the company, and he was a former WBC and lineal champion and an Olympic bronze medalist, so he had credibility. If Zuffa starts removing fighters like him after one defeat while increasingly concentrating on bigger names and undefeated prospects, people could conclude that the company is becoming more results-driven and disposable with its roster. I just feel like it's Zuffa wanting to say that they want great fights, they want people to take risks, but the risk doesn't pay off every time. How much loyalty with Zuffa will it take to stay on? Or one slip up, one fight and it's over, and then you burned all the bridges with previous people? I don't know, I just think it's wild. Let me know below, what do you guys think? That's it for the video, guys. Remember, it's all about attitude. There is no progress without struggle, so stay in there. I've been your host, Mr. Beefy, and you all have been fantastic, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.